is from the
Sorry.
guess it's a good time to invest. Because the reason is, if it's a good time to invest, the entrepreneur will have a higher probability getting funded. And the investor, if it's a good time to invest, psychologically will feel, well, if others think it's a good time to invest, guess it's a good time to invest, and they'll put the money in. But that's really the fundamental question. So with these three panelists, I want to start with Dan and just go down the line, introduce yourself, and in 30 minutes, yeah, we'll run out of time. But in 30 seconds, a quick background of who you are and what your best investment was or your worst investment. 25 seconds to go.
I'm Dan Jenkins. I'm the executive director of Evo Nexus, which I just opened our branch up here 3 months ago. So it's been quite an undertaking getting off the ground. But in terms of best investment, was the question?
Best or worst?
Best or worst. Oh boy, yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, just recently at Evo Nexus, I'll speak to some of that. We've had two teams raise $170 million just during the course of April alone. And so it gives us, excitement about the future. So just in the first 4 months, I think we've had our portfolio teams raise $500 million. So that's very significant. But we're seeing real positives in the market in terms of acquisitions at the moment.
Okay.
So we're pretty excited about that.
Good to hear.
Yeah, one's a satellite company and one was a biotech.
Good. So you're Mr. Daddy Warbucks tonight. Good. Just wanted to set the stage correctly for everybody.
Hi, I'm Sandy Miller, and I'm Executive Director of University Lab Partners. We're located in the Cove building at UCI Research Park, and we have a lab space incubator, beautiful research facilities for life science companies. We have about nearly 40 companies incubating with us at ULP, mix of medical device, diagnostics, and therapeutics companies. I'm going to take a slightly different spin on the investment question, because I think that, a lot of the companies that are, people are either investing in here or the startups that are here, the majority of them are B2B focused, right? And before ULP, one of the things that I've been doing for the past 5 or so years is running a boutique corporate innovation consulting firm in San Francisco. And so I've spoken to more than 300, strategic enterprise corporations, US, global, et cetera, over the past 5 years. And I think that given the current environment in life sciences, with the challenges, with the unpredictability of federal funding and so forth, I think that there's a really interesting opportunity for those, whether it's corporate venture capital firms and certainly the corporates that the startups here, many of whom want to have as customers or partners. I think that there's a very interesting opportunity for them to be much more innovative and creative and shift a bit their sweet spot for the companies that they're looking for, because there are some great companies, certainly some that we have at ULP, who are getting caught in this funding crunch. And those companies have some really interesting innovations that a lot of those big corporates, yes, it's earlier than they like to play, but for some of them, it makes sense. And so it's just a little bit different take. And so I think on the investor side right now, whether you're an angel or a venture investor where you have made investments in some of these companies, that's one of the things that I would be activating right now, is for those companies in your portfolio that I would try to accelerate or start some of those conversations with those potential corporate
What's the best
customers
company you've seen, or the worst?
Well, I'll tell you one of my
quickly.
Yeah, one of my most favorite startups that's been in a portfolio that I've had is happens to not be in the healthcare space.
Good.
It's a company called Maiden Space, and in 4 years, this team, first-time founders, developed and delivered the first zero gravity tolerant 3D printer to the International Space Station.
Cool. Good to hear it. All right. We'll send that over to Elon.
Stephen Larkey. Oh, I'm Stephen Larkey with New Fund Venture Group. I've been doing angel investing for about 4 years after a career in semiconductors. And since angel investing takes longer than 4 years, I don't have a good investment yet. Ask the question again in about 6 or 8 years. I'll tell you my good investment.
It was funny. I invested in a company, a new fund, and I got my money back in a year and a half. So you must be slow. Just to let you know.
I started later.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot. Appreciate that. So let me go do a toss up. What is the current investment climate in your mind? Good, bad, indifferent? Anyone to start, and then we'll debate it.
I think it's a good time to invest. There's a lot of money out there, but people are starting to get nervous about not seeing any exits, so they're pulling back. I think there's always good opportunities. I'm skeptical on the AI front. That's one area you got to be careful. Every company says they're AI. That makes it a hard time to invest because you got to dig through the fluff. But if you find good stuff out there, I think it's a good opportunity.
All right. Do you agree? Disagree? Sandra, you agree? Why?
I think, one of the things that, in San Francisco, AI was, sort of the epicenter for AI. And we are starting to see a shift from sort of this craze for people and corporates throwing crazy money at anything that had AI in it. And so now I think we're in a phase where a lot of those investors are coming in with a lot more discernment. They've learned some lessons, and it's pretty sort of typical cycle that you see with a disruptive technology like AI.
All right.
And it does. If anybody is if any investors are students of history, it's really looking at, okay, what is the revenue model, and really getting some validation around that. So,
I'm going to come back to an issue in a second. Do you have any, Dan, do you have any other comments? Good, bad, or indifferent?
I'd say the opportunities right now are moderate, but we see a lot of acquisitions taking place rather than VC.
Good. So there's hope for Stephen. I just wanted to point that out, Stephen. You're okay. But let's take a look at now, where do you see it's a good investment environment, or at least middle to good. Where do you see the investments? You mentioned AI. What other areas? Oh, you're talking to somebody else? Okay, got it. Where do you see the investment opportunities today? What areas, what market spaces?
We do a lot of life sciences. We're sector agnostic, but a lot of life sciences, a lot of opportunity there, using AI for drug discovery and medical devices. People are getting older, like everybody gets older, but the population's getting older. There's a lot of potential there for medical devices. So I think that's a good opportunity. All
right. So we got medical devices. Yeah, you're ULP, so you're in that genre.
Yeah, I'm not going to repeat. I agree with that.
All right, I'm going to probe a little further, Dan.
Yeah, we see a lot of medical devices as well, but just life sciences in general.
Okay, so let's play on the life sciences in general. How many people out in the audience you didn't even know the question yet? Okay.
I'm here to receive the money.
All right, good. What? That wasn't the question.
Where the restroom is.
The restroom is that way to the left. But seriously, how many of you are in life sciences, entrepreneurs in life sciences? Okay, how many of you are techie or non-life sciences? Good. So more in the non-techie. What are the other areas that are really hot? We talked about AI. Okay. What other areas in the non-technical area or non-med tech do you see? And I'll throw the next comment out, where you also see AI helping out in those areas.
I think that's a good question, because I think in even traditional markets that have been out there, sectors that have been out there for a long time, I see AI breathing new life into some of those. We're seeing a lot in fintech lately.
Fintech. Okay, so we got fintech as an environment.
Space.
Okay. What other one?
Space.
Space. This is space, out of space.
All sorts of things.
All sorts of space.
Related to space.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of space ones. I'm always skeptical in terms of the investment required, but there's people who want to put, believe it or not, servers up in space. They want to create the whole cloud in the space. So we're seeing a bunch of space deals.
I'll
Go ahead.
just two quick other areas. I think things related to sustainability are some areas that are seeing some really nice progress. There's some really interesting breakthrough technologies, and the corporate customers for some of those innovations are more sophisticated and are taking it more seriously. And so you're seeing much more significant adoption and, and sort of, nice revenue generation coming out of some of those technologies. The other area that, we see a lot of in life sciences is this aspect of technologies for the warfighter and
Yep. Yeah.
and defense related technologies and so forth. And that's a pretty broad segment, but those are things that we keep as we're out and about at different conferences and talking to different groups. That's an area that I think is really interesting.
Yeah, that goes back to my early days in the 2010 environment called SPAWAR, where the warfire was a node on a network. But what about, let's say, in sustainability? So the areas, what's your thoughts on building tech, material science, particularly for batteries or solar?
Yeah.
Is that a good investment? Are those good investments now or not?
I think with I've been advising a company that was in my earlier portfolio that has an AI sort of powered sensor that you put on industrial water pumps, and it instantly sort of saves between 30 to 70% of the energy savings for industrial manufacturing. So that can be for large beverage bottling, for pharma companies, anything that a bunch of water is going through.
Yep.
And it's just, so that company is, they happen to be from Italy, and they've gotten global customers, including global auto manufacturers and so forth. So it's just sort of very clear math. Turns out water pumps take an inordinate amount of energy and actually energy cost for any industrial manufacturing plant.
Yep.
So it's a very simple story to tell, and they even have sort of a cost savings model, meaning they don't have a lot of upfront costs or anything. They just take a percentage of the revenue from the savings. And so it's sort of like if you're running one of those plants and you're trying to manage your costs, like that's kind of a no-brainer.
Got it. Okay. Now, Dan, what's your thoughts on battery, solar, building tech? Are you doing any investments in those areas?
Not really.
Okay, well, that takes care of that. Is anyone into those areas? Okay, good. Glad to hear that. All right. So when you look at an investment, what do you all look at in terms of saying this is a good investment, I'm interested? Or conversely, if you see an investment, you say, I'm not interested because of this. You can start it off, Dan.
Okay, so I mean, in terms of our incubator, we tend to look at post idea stage companies, obviously, more than just an idea on a napkin, but solving a problem in a large market, basically. We're looking for companies with a clear competitive advantage. We tend to like to see a couple team members that are incubated on site in our facility. Even though we say we like to see companies who are based in Orange County and San Diego, amazingly, I'm talking to a lot of teams from outside the U.S. at the moment.
In what geographies? Are you looking at, are you seeing it in India and Africa or Israel or Canada?
Israel, Korea.
All over.
All over.
Interesting.
All over. Again, we're looking at pre-seed to pre-series A. But, when it comes to the companies themselves, we're really looking at some intrinsics also. I mean, certainly we're looking at some of the other factors, but we like to know that the team is coachable. If they're going to be in our facility for up to 2 years, I mean, we don't want to waste our real estate or our time unless we feel like they can actually build and grow something important here.
Right.
And they're going to do that and not just waste their time. So we're pretty selective on the front end, but that also leads to better outcomes on the back end.
All right. Stephen, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, we're generally looking for companies that can scale and grow big. If you think about angel investing, you got to get the 100x. And so if you look at a company that's a great company, great product, good people, but the market is not that big, we're going to probably back away. So that's another thing. We really want to see that product market fit and a chance to grow. And I'm from the semiconductor background. I like companies that can scale very quickly. Like if you have a good chip, you just call the fab up and just crank it out. Obviously, it's obviously a little more complicated than that, but things that can grow. Like sometimes we see like a company that's got a great AI solution. We had one that was doing inspection for manufacturing. My concern there was every time they went to a new company, they had like a whole big ramp up phase. They got to throw people at it, try to figure it out. That doesn't, yes, it's a huge market, but how do you get that thing to scale quickly? Turns out they're still going, which is good, but they haven't grown that fast.
Right. You want to add to what you look at, and then I'm going to flip it around and go into what you don't want to hear.
Last one, David.
Last one. Okay,
Okay.
quickie.
So I think I'm going to share something that an investor said to a group in an accelerator program that I ran last year that I think is really important given we're going to have investor pitches tonight. And one of the things in the context of events like this and giving investor pitches, he said, help me understand specifically how you're going to hit my greed factor. Like, oh, we can make a lot of money with this company. If we invest in this company, they're going to do really well. So at the end of the day, that's part of the job. That's a big part of the job as you're giving that investor pitch, is you have to be speaking to that bigger vision and potential opportunity. I think the other thing that is very important for those presentations is on the team slide, speaking to at least 1 to 2 quantitative points, certainly about the CEO and maybe one other person on the team that establish some of those credentials that'll help improve or create beliefs in potential investors in the audience that your team has the ability, has the experience to bring this forward.
All right, so do we have time for audience questions? Couple of questions. Who wants to ask, especially for those pitching, what do you want to ask the investors? Go ahead. Go ahead.
So, we have a hardware company.
I can't hear you, by the way.
Hardware company.
Come closer.
You've got a hardware company.
What do you have you invested in hardware companies, and when you do, if you have done, what do you exactly look for, like in terms of like factors or like how you like the whole
So
process?
have you invested in a hardware company? What do you look for in a hardware company?
Yeah, like when investing, what are your thought process?
Okay, who wants to take that?
I mean, it's really the same stuff. Is it a good team, and is it going to scale? Do you have a defensible solution? You mentioned that before. It's got to be innovative. We've invested in semiconductor company. I was actually the deal lead. They had an innovative solution. They actually a spin out from a fab, a MEMS fab. They had seen a bunch of customers come to the MEMS fab, try to build something, and they kept failing. They looked at what they're doing, said, we know how a fab runs. We know what they're trying to accomplish. We'll build our own device, better mousetrap concept, and we invested in them. I think they're going to do very, very well.
Yeah, the other thing that I'd recommend is looking, if it's your hardware company, take a look at the platform and see how it's extensible to other areas by adding different elements, different software, maybe using the basic platform and working with third-party strategic partners. Another question?
Thank you.
The founder question.
A founder question. Go ahead.
Patrick Schmidler, I'm the founder and CEO of Carry Health. We're developing a solution to inform medication dosing. The question I have is, several of you mentioned that you're looking for founders and management teams that are coachable, right? You hear that all the time as CEOs.
You're coachable. I know you.
What do you mean by that, right? Because it carries different.
All right. Turn it over to, go ahead. Yell it out.
Sandy is the one.
So coachability and what we're testing for as we're interested in your opportunity and trying to understand more about you and your team and your ability to execute is, investors know that, there's a plan and then things will go wrong, right? You'll have to pivot, you'll have to make changes, and market conditions change, market conditions change, things like COVID come out of the blue and have big impacts, big changes in your strategy. So because we know that things will change, you need to have the ability to engage with investors, people on your board, advisors, to navigate the inevitable challenges that any company will face. And so when you're talking to that founder and you're sort of engaging and questioning their strategy, have you thought about this? Have you considered this? Those are some of the signals we're trying to understand. Can you actually do that? Can you be open enough? And it's some vulnerability because, you know, we absolutely understand that you're working, you know, you wake up every day and this is the first thing you think about. So it's hard to be able to step back from that a little bit, but it is critical. So those are some of the things as you're getting those questions. It's not like, oh, the investor saying, oh, you guys haven't thought about this, you're idiots. That's not it at all. It's testing, can we engage in that kind of dialogue to get to the best result for how this company can overcome that challenge.
Yeah. Dan, Steve, you want to add to it? Otherwise, we can get maybe one more question.
No, I would just add that, you know, we don't want to see my way or the highway type, you know, teams who are coming in, people who can listen, take advice, learn from their mistakes and move forward. A lot of what Sandy said as well, but no, I don't want to waste our time.
We have one more question. Go ahead.
So I like to see through the investor's lens. So for AI companies, do investors have different expectations of AI startups? And do you see them as on a different trajectory than other types of
What's AI?
companies?
Yeah, I was just going to ask that question.
Yeah.
What's
What's
AI
I think
versus algorithms?
the biggest concern we have with AI startups is this something that ChatGPT or OpenAI or somebody, you know, Google can do next week. So it's very hard for these early AI startups to come out and have a real moat that's defensible. Especially nowadays, they come in, they've got like, hey, we only took one software guy to develop this whole thing. It's like,
And it took us 3 days.
exactly. And they're very proud of it. It's like, that doesn't sound very like a really big moat. And so we had one that was an ed tech startup, and like why we're talking to them, OpenAI announced that one of the features of the new release was that it was going to do like exactly what they were doing.
Yeah. So look at from an AI perspective, look at it as air necessary to pump up a tire. You have to figure out the tire that you're going to develop to solve a problem. It's going to be, that's what the way it's going in the future, unless you're building an AI infrastructure, maybe like an SLM for medical devices or something. That may be where you would focus your energy. But if it just says AI, our eyes roll. I can just see Chewy coming out, Chewy with AI. You know, it's like nuts. It's like the old .com era, and that's the way I look at it.
I want to say one last thing to kind of back up what Sandy said. I invested in a company that were in the travel industry when the pandemic hit, and they pivoted to be for hospitals. And talk about coachability and how the entrepreneur was able to actually turn around an investment in a company that was for the travel industry that's dying to something for hospitals.
I thought that was the new MASH unit they were using.
Yeah, that was it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. David, Sandy, Dan, and Stephen, thank you very much. Let's give them another big hand. Thank you. Right. Okay. So now we're going to start with some pitches. I guess everybody's waiting for that. We're going to go online. It's going to be 4-minute pitch for the online ones. And they will get 2 questions from investors in the room. Only 2 questions they'll have to answer. And then they get feedback from the room, also from investors, 2 feedbacks or up to 2 questions and up to 2 feedbacks. So Roy is going to help navigate. By the way, this is my son right here. Let's give him a big hand. He's been, yeah. There you go, Don. All right. So we're going to start with Paul Berkmeyer with asparaglu. Okay, Paul. Okay, Paul, we're going to bring you as online so you can start sharing. Gonna take on the timer. Yeah.
I'll keep an eye out for anybody who looks at it. Thank you.
Oh, is that how it works?
Paul, you should accept.
I won the election.
Okay, Paul, share your screen and turn on your mic. There you go. You can get started when you're ready. So with every company, they're going to share only one slide, and it has a set of information on it that most investors will ask. So we're kind of predicting your questions and some of the answers.
Sorry, I was muted.
No worries. You're good to go whenever. I'll start a timer on my side. You have 4 minutes.
Great. Hi, I'm Paul Berkmeyer, CEO of Aspiraglue. We're revolutionizing surgical recovery with an elastic superglue. A key driver for surgical recovery is biosurgery. This includes sealants, adhesives, and hemostats, referred to as SAH. We believe the $9 billion SAH market is ripe for disruption. The reason for this is many of the products in the market are biologically derived, which means they're very expensive to make, and the market has seen very little innovation related to new polymer chemistries. The entire SAH market has performance and economic challenges. The brands have been around for a very long time. We have exciting technology that can provide solutions for SAH, and we have impressive animal data for each segment. The company plans to first focus in the area of surgical sealants. This is an area with large clinical unmet needs, and the space is $2.4 billion. Here, there are only two product categories, biologic and PEGs and hydrogels. These products both have mechanical challenges and they're difficult to use, and biologic also has high cost of goods. All of the sealants in the market have been around 15 to 20 or more years. So we plan to make a best-in-class surgical sealant and start with the beachhead of lung. With lung, you typically resect the tissue with the tumor. The staple line is sealed to help prevent air leaks, yet this often fails because sealants today aren't strong enough and they're not elastic enough, so they can't prevent the air leaks. Air leaks are the #1 complication from lung surgery, and this means you stay in the hospital extra days, very painful chest tube and narcotics, and significant added cost to the patient in hospital. And we believe we can fix this. Many organs also have movement besides lung, vessels, bowel, and esophagus, and they'd also benefit from high strength and elasticity. In the lab of Professor Phil Messersmith at UC Berkeley, a disruptive technology was discovered, a chemical breakthrough using alpha-lipoic acid. Alpha-lipoic acid is bio-friendly. It's made by every cell. It's also a common food supplement. Previously, it's never been possible to use alpha-lipoic acid to make a polymer. The invention is a novel chemical modification of alpha-lipoic acid that leads to stable polymers that are very soft and very strong, yet soft and viscoelastic like skin and tissue. This has never been done before. If you look at the competitive diagram in the upper right, we stand alone for strength and elasticity versus 5 leading brands in the market. Reports on our technology were published in both Science and the Journal of the American Chemical Society. These include compelling mechanical, biologic, and animal data. We have 3 issued patents just in the last year, and we can block any competitor from making a polymer using alpha-lipoic acid. Note that we also have strategic interest and DoD interest. I've been in medical devices for over 30 years, worked in new technology and market division at J&J and led 2 startups with exits. Dr. Cham Josefiak previously led biomaterials R&D at Genzyme. Professor Phil Messersmith chairs bioengineering at Berkeley, and he has an international reputation for adhesives and sealants. And Dr. Subhajit Pal is our expert chemist. So our company's strategy is to develop a best-in-class sealant, test it in a randomized controlled trial, and get an FDA PMA approval. and exit with a sale to a large medical device company. This is a space where all the large players acquire their technologies, and there are multiple startup examples with exits upon getting PMA approval. So we're seeking $2 million in seed. We're flexible on the safe or convertible note, about $8 million valuation. We believe we can get to exit on 16 to 18 million and sell the company for at least 400 million based on a similar startup exit. So thank you very much.
On time.
I mean, questions from the investors in the room? Any questions? Go ahead.
FDA approval.
What is the FDA? The FDA approval's a PMA process, which we consider a very positive, because it gives you the opportunity to exit without commercialization. 510Ks, as you know, you have up to 2 years of commercialization added execution risk. We think we can get to that point in 4 years, a PMA.
Okay, so the answer is 4 years, Doctor. Okay, any other questions? Investors? Go ahead, Stephen.
How big is the market you're going after to justify a $400 million valuation? It has to be a big market that they want to enter. And you didn't really talk about that.
Yeah, so we think we could exit for 400 million. There was a similar sealant company that was bought by J&J 2 years ago for 400, and we're going to be in a similar way compelling for mechanical reasons, and our platform is broader reaching. So the market in total that we have animal data for is 9.4 billion, and the sealant market specifically, we'll get the PMA market in, is 2.4 billion.
All right. Any feedback? Not a question. Feedback. Pat, you have a feedback?
I was going to ask, do you have to do separate?
Do you have what?
Does he need separate approval? Because he's starting with lungs.
Yeah, you have the team.
No, not that.
No, I couldn't hear you. Sorry.
Well, they need different approval for lungs versus other usage.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's hear some feedback, please, from anybody. Just feedback, not a question.
The 8 million cap without a viable product, even close, is tenable.
Okay. One more. Anybody? Any feedback? Stephen? No?
I think the exit number is aggressive.
Exit number is aggressive. All right. Paul, that was great. Great presentation, right on time. Thank you. We're going to go next. Can you please stop sharing? Thank you, Paul. Okay, before we go to the next presenter, we're going to share a QR code so you can vote on Paul. Please use the QR code to vote on, remember the company name, Asparagus Glue. So it's the same code for voting on all companies. So please take it down for now. Yeah. Okay. We'll go to the next presenter. We'll show it again. Okay, next presenter is John Derrick with Authentrix.ai. John, we're making you a presenter. Please accept and start sharing. And you can, when you're ready, you can start speaking, and we will time you.
Okay, very good. Thank you guys so much. My name is John Derrick. I am a serial entrepreneur with 3 successful exits as CEO, 6 additional exits as an interim or an advisor. Two of those companies were AI companies, having been acquired by VMware and Ampere Computing. Artificial intelligence is rapidly transforming every sector of industry and government, but key critical challenges remain. Can we trust it? Can we explain it? And how do we manage this transformational technology cost effectively? The key challenge of AI is broadly recognized and is referred to as a black box problem. Simply put, inputs and outputs are easily observed, but how exactly they form those results is hard and difficult to determine. This black box nature of AI hampers, even blocks, the potential utility and use of AI in critical systems, limiting its value and creating sizable risk for both customer and brand. To address this challenge, we provide a patent pending solution, utility patent solution that's been published, Authentrix MRI, that provides unique measurement, correction, and explainability to existing AIs, greatly reducing risk, cost, and opening up the scope of AI usage and creating value for our clients. Our product is a non-intrusive and efficient software that provides key insights and alerts to model health and behavior, generates key governance and compliance information, provides attribution for trust, and provides an ability to perform rapid and efficient correction of models, for example, removing PII or hallucination sources. We offer it as a simple software subscription, and it delivers continual value from any point in time from inception until a model is retired. We sell to both commercial and government customers, and just for reference, our GSA schedule pricing is $10K per month per model. So these are larger customers. Our customers are AI and data governance leadership, typically VPs, and they gain predictability, explainability, trust, reduced risk, and increased efficiency. We can save them 70% of the time and costs to do corrections and repair models. All of this is done without vendor lock-in with proprietary AI pipelines. We currently support the standard OpenAI models, including open versions of ChatGPT, Llama, Granite, and very, very soon, DeepSeek. We're just validating that now. It's available on Google, a very strong supporter of ours that provide quite a bit of support monetarily and otherwise, AWS or on-prem. Just a little bit about ourselves. We were formed in late 2023 based on our IP that I filed over the summer. We're a team of 6 startup veterans and US-based tech staff. We have currently 5 venture firms backing us and have commitments from others to join in the coming days. We are seeking an additional $600K to complete our $2 million pre-seed round. The terms are common across all. 6.5 million pre-money cap, 8% interest, 1-year term. We plan to raise an additional round, a priced round, late this year or early next, and have already begun discussions with firms I've worked with before in California, Austin, and Boston. We have early revenue, and we have a very strong pipeline, and we expect to quickly scale revenue past 100 million within a few years through direct sales and scaling of these subscriptions for multiple AIs. The acquisition market for AI software companies is very strong. Last year's PR ratio for AI software was 26 times versus 5.5 for general software. Again, my name is John Derrick, CEO of Authentrix. We provide a broad and valuable MRI and correction solution for AI. We are seeking the remaining $600K investment for our pre-seed. I invite you to follow up and join us in this opportunity. Thank you.
Great presentation, John. Questions from investors in the room? No questions? Come on. Stephen, go for it.
Yeah, looking inside the black box is very challenging. How are you doing that in general that you can license this technique to everybody?
Well, we don't license. We actually sell software. And that's actually the core of the IP, the patent. And we can provide that if you'd like to review it. But essentially what we do is we take the versions of checkpoints and we do a quantitative analysis from one checkpoint to the next. And with that, we can treat those changes, basically the effects of training data and training process, as if it were code. And so we're able to roll back things very quickly, understand the contribution from the different training sets and sources, and provide very clear explanation of what's happening within the model.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Go ahead, Jeff.
What kind of go-to-market do you envision for this type of product?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part.
What kind of go-to-market do you envision for this product?
Well, it's not so much envision is actually what we're executing. We have about 400 leads identified. We've got about 50 companies that are actually engaged in discussion, doing evaluations, POCs, and that sort of thing. Our focus is selling to organizations that build a number of AIs. So this becomes standard part of their AI, basically ML ops, AI ops. And again, both on the AI delivery side, as well as on the data governance side.
Okay, thank you. Any feedback for John? Go ahead, Deval.
Question, but I'll convert it into a feedback that right now we see a lot of AI models showing the work that they're doing, showing step by step. What's stopping them to basically offer this information up the next version or the newer versions of their model?
So the comment back, John, is what's your moat? Do you have a moat that could prevent others? Any other feedback for John?
Patent.
Patents,
Or patent
okay.
pending.
All right. John, thank you very much. Great presentation. Thank you. Gotta be quicker.
Say, make the slide a little easier to read. Well,
Okay.
10 minutes of a single slide. Is that
Single slide, yes, with as much information to answer your questions. So, all right. We will put the QR code back on while we're switching. We will be switching to Yamili Bastian, Fulcrum Ventures. Yamili, please accept and get yourself ready. Okay, please vote.
Okay. I'll bump it up.
While we're waiting, I just want to tell you on your badges, investors, on your badges, there is a number after the word investor. That's the table number you will be on when we do the face-to-face. So you will be on, you don't move off of that table. Investors, you'll have a number, you don't move off of that table. The founders that will be pitching to you, they will move tables. Also, the founders will start with this table number that is on their badge, and then they move around, and we'll explain that soon. So I just wanted to get that going. All right, Yamili, please share your screen, and you can get started, and we'll time you when you get started.
Okay, thank you. I'm just looking for the control to share the screen. Sorry.
Share button on the bottom of your screen, usually a
Okay,
green
I
button.
see it. Thank you. Okay. There you go.
Gonna make a little bit bigger, Ryan.
Okay. Thank you. Everything from your cell phone and semiconductors to data centers, from industrial chemicals to advanced weapon systems, run on minerals extracted from the earth and processed in faraway places so that we can use them. Of the 50 minerals deemed critical for our industrial competitiveness and national security, we as a country are 100% dependent on China for imports of about 15 of them, many of which are essential for semiconductors, electric vehicles, satellites, and defense systems. And while the U.S. currently produces and recycles about $14 billion worth of critical minerals each year, that's just a fraction of what we actually use, which is closer to 325 billion. That gap leaves us incredibly vulnerable, especially when the one country we depend on for the vast majority of our critical minerals is China, our main economic competitor. In April of this year, China implemented bans and restrictions on exports of 7 of the rare earth elements for which we are 100% dependent on them. Some might even say that China weaponized its control on the global critical minerals supply chains when they did this. So why should we care? Your smartphone contains 18 critical metals. An F-35 fighter jet contains 920 pounds of rare earth elements that are essential for accuracy of lasers and radars. And advanced submarines need over 9,000 pounds of rare earth elements. We've been overly dependent on China for imports of critical minerals and for the technologies that power our daily lives and ensure our national security. We do have some resources available in our own country, but it could take 10 to 20 years to get them to production, much less to scale. And we also don't have the workforce for that because at the moment, we don't have enough schools putting out geologists and scientists in this field. These are the resources that are shaping the future, and our access to them is under attack. I'm Yamali. I'm a retired diplomat with 25 years of experience as a commercial attaché in U.S. embassies around the world. I launched Fulcrum Ventures to leverage the deep networks of business contacts that I have with mine owners, government decision makers in the U.S. and overseas, and U.S. industry to address this challenge head on. We want to leverage our country's trade partnerships with allied nations that are already extracting and processing many of the critical minerals that we need. Fulcrum Ventures connects mine owners in Latin America with U.S. industry. We've developed a strong network of mine owners who are extracting and in some cases processing many of the critical minerals that U.S. industry and our Department of Defense are seeking. And we have partnerships with 3 of the leading policy institutes on this subject. And we've also teamed up with subject matter experts in the mining sector, the renewable energy sector, the defense sector. We have geologists, engineers, retired military procurement personnel, and others on our team. We also are partnering with the firm that provides technical assistance to overseas mines that are seeking risk insurance and letters of intent from U.S. government agencies. This type of technical assistance makes them much more attractive for private equity investment in the future. And we've compiled a deal book of small investments in Latin America and mines ranging from $200,000 to $6 million that we're presenting to investors who specialize exclusively in early stage mineral exploration. Those are exclusively exploration companies, so they're not yet actually selling products, but they're very important for building the pipeline for future sales. The next phase of Fulcrum Ventures expansion is to strengthen partnerships with U.S. industry.
Yeah, Amelia, time is up. Time is up. Can you just tell us about the terms?
Okay, sure. I'm seeking $400,000 in angel investment. On the screen, you see the breakdown of that. We want to build a minimum viable product for an AI.
What are the terms? What's the valuation of your
We're pre-revenue. We're pre-revenue, but we're closing on a $150 million antimony deal in Peru, as well as a possible investment in a gold and copper mine in Argentina.
Okay, one more question. You're raising $400,000, but what's the value of your company? What are you valuing the company at?
I've not established a number since we are pre-revenue, so okay. I would seek the expertise and guidance of people who would have experience in that and rely on the investors for that.
All right. Thank you. Any questions for Emily? Jeff?
How do you make money?
How do you make money?
Through the sales of the offtake agreements, the mines that we are in contact with, when they make sales to buyers in the US and Canada, we get a commission on that.
And how do I make money?
And how does the investor get their money out?
Would, of course, get a percentage of those commissions. We're also we're seeking to facilitate investments into gold and copper mines in Argentina. And so we would build into those arrangements, the terms for the investor to make money off.
One more question, Stephen.
Are you just a broker? It doesn't sound like it's a business. It sounds like you're just using your diplomatic service to negotiate.
We're brokering, but we're also adding value by providing technical assistance to the mines, helping them to get the letters of intent from the Export-Import Bank, as well as credit insurance from the Development Finance Corporation. And we're identifying investors and buyers for them.
I think there will be a lot of feedback here, but I'm gonna let Pat say one feedback.
Okay, sure.
Your service and consulting firm.
Yes, correct.
It's not really a venture deal, and so if you were going to find investor, it's more like alternative investor and it could turn into a private equity deal, but I don't think it's an angel.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Amelia, I would really listen to Pat's feedback because I think I'm seeing a lot of head shaking in the room. So I think almost every investor here agrees. Thank you, Amelia, very much. Let's give her a big hand.
Thank you.
Okay, let's vote. And we're going to go next. It's going to be Adib Shadid with Gatherly Virtual Events. Adib Shadid. When you're ready, you can get started. Share your screen.
You see my screen?
Not yet. There we go.
Okay, nice. Thanks, everybody. Great to see you all. Thank you so much for being here. But I'm going to say, imagine for a second that...
Your screen is not shared anymore. Sorry.
Oh. Imagine that, eh? What's going on, everybody? Let's do this.
There we go.
We got it.
Oh, in just a moment, just a moment, just a moment. I'm so sorry, everybody.
It's on sharing again.
I'm going on.
It's there. Don't touch anything.
We see it now. Do not touch it.
You would think I own a virtual events business. Say, what's going on, Sharks? Thank you so much for being here. Now, imagine for a second you weren't here. How would this event have looked like online? Does it have to be a webinar? Does everyone in this room work for Zoom and all the others by directing our traffic and online communities to them? Imagine if every organization had their very own virtual platform that was built to their spec to deliver on individual meeting and event needs, with a UX so engaging and easy to use, and where connections thrive. Welcome to Gatherly.io. We're an enterprise SaaS business that's offering white-labeled virtual event platforms that organizations can subscribe to and replace the generic tools. Beyond white labels, Gatherly events are immersive. We leverage spatial navigation technology so attendees can explore multi-room environments, interact naturally with each other, visit booths, and network without the clunkiness of breakout rooms. And it's always branded perfectly for their hosts, and more importantly, their sponsors. I'm Adib, founder of Gatherly, and we're revolutionizing virtual events. Honestly, the problem is that the world's kind of losing patience with one-way webinars. Studies show that today, 70% of all virtual event attendees remain completely passive, even more interact just a little bit. While 67% of virtual event hosts identify audience engagement as their #1 challenge. I mean, let's face it, we've all been there. I'm kind of there now. Despite huge growth in the virtual events market, growing at an average rate of 20% annually, projected to be valued worth $70 billion by 2030, innovation in this space has been totally stagnant since 2020. So Gatherly sees this as an opportunity for disruption and to capture a significant portion of that market. We're a baby company. We just launched June 21st, 2024, and today we're actually just 9 days shy of our first fiscal year. And Gatherly has very quickly become a trusted partner for huge organizations like UC Berkeley, the Autism Today Foundation, and corporate giants like State Farm, DHL, Premier, and Merck. We've collected just about $150,000 in revenue so far, and remarkably, all that growth has been a result of having developed really cool third-party strategic partnerships and also client advocacy and word of mouth. We haven't spent a cent on marketing yet. At launch, we were offering our event services, but in January, finally, we launched our enterprise plans, enabling businesses of all sizes, small startups to large enterprises, to effortlessly host unique and engaging virtual events. From ready-to-use templates to fully customized solutions, Gatherly offers powerful tools for everyone. It's been 5 months since launching our SaaS model, and we've onboarded exactly 11 enterprise clients, but we're really just getting started. So is this really unique? Are immersive video calls that great? Similar companies have emerged recently to compete with Zoom, Teams, notably ones like Remo and AirMe. But Gatherly stands apart with three unique and key distinctions. Number one, complete white labeling and customization. Number two, incredible accessibility features, including mobile friendliness, single sign-on, and browser-based, which kind of means that users don't need to sign up for a Gatherly account or download any software to join our platform. Also, attendees stay really actively engaged. Since launch, over 91% of all virtual event attendees have left cameras and microphones on always. So now we kind of need an angel to support us to scale rapidly. I've bootstrapped this entirely until now, investing just over $250,000 of my own money, and I'm seeking an additional $750 to accelerate go-to-market strategies via more channel partnerships, onboard a direct marketing agency called PitchPass, and to internalize our already strong core team of 6. This is my first fundraising round. It's one of my first pitches. I'm a first-time entrepreneur, so I honestly would appreciate any advice, questions, and feedback you may have. With this funding, we're projecting to reach a $3.5 million annual recurring revenue by late 2026, putting us at a $17.5 million valuation. So thanks very much for your time and consideration.
Thanks, Adib. Time's up.
Thank you.
All right, Pat.
Okay, I think everyone in the room will have the same feeling, like there are a lot of competition out there, and I don't know if you have a moat, but my recommendation for you to start with is, for the product you're building, you should show it to us instead of talking to us.
Funny you should say.
Basically, present your product, your platform.
So I will say something about that. So we were going to use that platform today instead of Zoom, but this room the technology in the room did not allow us to do this. So we were going to use this instead of Zoom. So that would have been really the right way to do it, but we just could not do it. We tried. We came here really early, tried to do this. We couldn't do it.
I learned a lot. There's a lot of
learned a lot today. Connie.
Since it is a broad market and there is so much competition, is your specific competitors?
What did you hear that, Adib?
I'm sorry, no.
Yeah, who do you think your direct competitor is, since the competition is fierce?
Yes, there are two particular companies. One is called Remo and the other is called AirMeet. They're offering similar offerings in terms of more immersive and more engaging virtual event platforms, but the way we differ from them is that our platforms are white labeled. And so if Pismo Ventures wanted to invite people to a virtual meeting or an event, they wouldn't necessarily have to brand somebody else or show direct traffic over to Zoom. Essentially, every company has their own white labeled virtual events platform that we build to their spec.
All right. Any feedback for Adib?
AirMeet recently
Brian,
got a $23 million investment as well. So I've been reading up a lot on that to kind of understand where they went well. And it seems to have been in developing really strategic third-party channel partnerships. And so we've taken that route, and we're early stages, believe me, but it's been exciting.
Thanks, Adib. Okay, Brian in the back.
Great energy on your presentation. I think that was some positive feedback. Just some small notes. These slides, again, are a bit hard to read as far as text. They're a little bit small. And then I would present from the office, if you have one, or a virtual office.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I think you'll be successful if you keep doing this.
Thank you.
Don, last feedback.
There's a company called Pixel Canvas that I would suggest that he investigate.
Take a look at Pixel Canvas. Thanks, Adib, very much. Let's give him a big hand. Please vote for Adib's company, Gatherly. We'll put up the QR code for a second on the screen if you need it. We're gonna go out of order for a second. So I just got a text from Ruben. He's heading to the airport. So we're gonna go with Regain Biomedicals first, and then we'll go back to Kyle. So first we're gonna go with Ruben, Regain Biomedical.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, Ruben, you can get started.
Wonderful.
Share your screen.
Thank you very much. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And I haven't done this in a while. Share options. How do I share options? Here we go. Okay, share. Is that a full screen presentation?
No, go full screen. Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. Well, it's a pleasure to be here tonight, and I want to thank JJ for putting together these events. I was here last year. I am the CEO of Regain Biomedicals. We are an international company with operations in Chile and the US, developing a wearable, artificial intelligence-driven, non-invasive electrical stimulation device for the reduction of essential tremors. There are 20 million patients in the US and Europe that suffer from essential tremors, and probably one of you knows at least one person who suffers from tremors. Regain was founded about 3 years ago, and this came out of a university in Chile. The inventor is the son of a physician who suffered from essential tremors, and that was the incentive to drive the development of this technology. We have assembled a very talented group of people, advisors, developers in the US, in California. We have 2 granted patents in the US, 2 in prosecution in Europe, and more that are coming soon. Right now, we're seeking $3 million at a $7 million pre-money valuation, with an X-rays plan of 10 to 15 million for clinical trial completion. So we have a couple of inflection points that we're looking to achieve over the next 12 to 18 months. We have some self-commitments, some firm commitments actually from an investor in Chile, and working with a strategic investor from New York, and working with a successful exited entrepreneur from Irvine to join us in this journey. This is what we raised before. I put in some of my own money into the company over the last 4 years. So our angel investor and the co-founder. Our operations are very affordable because we're doing all the research in Chile. We have clinical trial sites activated, and we tested these in about 35 different patients. So we're looking for someone to help us, join us in this journey, and bring grace to patients with essential tremors. What we plan to do is laid out at the bottom of the slide. And there's one major competitor that I'm happy to answer questions about it, but we believe and we know from the users and from the physicians treating the patients that our technology is superior in its performance to the competition. I'm going to stop there now. I think that sums it up.
Thanks very much. We got a bunch of questions. We'll start with Stephen.
Yeah, you say a $3 million raise. What are you going to accomplish with that puts you in a good position to do the next $10 million raise?
Thank you. Yeah, with 3 million, we can actually finish the development of the device. So it's ready for clinical site testing for submission to the FDA. So 3 million gets us to a complete final developed product.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Timeline to getting that FDA approval.
What's the timeline?
Yeah, clinical trials, once completed, will be about 12 months, no more than 12 months. The power is about 300 patients. And we have a site at UCSD that it wants to work with us, 2 sites in Chile, and we're looking for another site in the US. So 12 months in a conservative manner will be for completion. Let's say another 3 to 6 months for submission to the FDA.
Don?
This is basically targeted to Parkinson's. I didn't see it anywhere on there, but it seems that way.
Is this Parkinson's targeting?
These can also help patients with Parkinson. We tested this in Chile in control conditions under supervision, medical supervision with Parkinson patients because they requested to be tested. And to our pleasant surprise, we saw that it can help them. The pathophysiology of essential tremor and Parkinson's are very different. But what we're doing basically is we're creating noise cancellation. Our device works by measuring the angular movement of the arms and then running an algorithm that delivers the right electrical signal to counteract that movement.
Thank you. Pat?
So two-part question. Is the treatment agnostic to the origin of the disease? So we mentioned Parkinson, but there's different reason for shaking, right?
Yes.
So can you treat them all? And number two, is this a treatment or a cure?
This is a treatment to help with the symptoms. This is not a cure. We do see some residual effects, after turning off the device, but it's not a cure. This really helps the patients regain their quality of life so they can function. So yes, we believe that the principle can be applied to multiple indications that are movement disorders. We focus on essential tremors because that's how it was developed, and that's where the majority of patients that exist that we can test it on. But definitely there are other tremors, leg tremors, other extremities that we believe this can be applied to.
Ruben, thank you very much. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Let's give him a big hand. Let's vote for let's vote on Ruben Regain Biomedicals. Next is going to be Kyle Christopher, MRG Health. Kyle Christopher. Kyle, I don't see you. Yeah, I don't see Kyle. So we're going to move on. We'll move to Manuel Harb. Manuel, are you there? Yes, I see you. Okay. Okay, Manuel, whenever you're ready, please share your screen. And we have two more after Manuel. You're muted.
Sorry about that. I'm going to share my screen right now. All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Manny, and I am the CEO and co-founder of Musique Bio, where we're using sound science to break barriers. One of the biggest barriers in medicine today is the blood-brain barrier. It has prevented many transformative drugs and therapies from reaching the right areas of the brain, reducing their therapeutic efficacy, causing unwanted side effects, and just derailing clinical drug development. There is nowhere that's more devastating than in neurological diseases that lack treatments and cures today, like Huntington's disease, a fatal inherited disorder that robs patients of their movement, cognition, and identity. Even looking at companies like Roche and Alnylam, which are developing drugs in clinical trials today, they're delivering them via direct multiple injections into the brain, which are invasive and can cause complications. Other companies directly inject these drugs into the spinal cord to flood the brain with the drug, but in doing so, they cause unwanted toxicity in the healthy parts, even to the point where they had to halt a clinical trial for one drug. And so this is where we come in, where Musique Bio is developing a drug delivery vehicle that is going to enable highly specific drug delivery to the brain with minimal side effects in a safe and non-invasive manner. How do we do this? Our drug delivery vehicle actually leverages ultrasound waves to temporarily and non-invasively open biological barriers and allow us to deliver drugs wherever and whenever we want at the click of a button. How? We took ultrasound imaging agents that have been safely used in the clinic for decades, re-engineered them to load drugs and bind to specific disease sites, creating this two-factor authentication system for drug delivery. Thereby, once it's injected into the bloodstream, it will go and bind to the target site, and only with a clinical scanner and pulsing of the ultrasound will it release the cargo at that disease site. Our first lead indication will be in Huntington's disease, where there's an estimated 40,000 patients in the United States that show symptoms of the disease, and another 250,000 that are at risk due to inheriting of the gene for the disease, but they haven't shown symptoms yet. We're narrowing our target patient profile to the 30,000 early stage Huntington disease patients so that we can maximize our therapeutic impact and benefit. By multiplying the number of patients with the average cost of a treatment for any neurodegenerative diseases, which is $300K per patient per year, we get to a serviceable obtainable market of $9 billion, of which we expect to capture at least 10% within the first few years following FDA approval of our lead program. As we're pursuing this FDA approval, we understand that our drug delivery vehicle can deliver any drug to any region of the brain, and so we can expand into other diseases like ALS, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's via partnerships, where we can go to pharmaceutical companies and take the drugs that they have that are either too toxic or too ineffective to be delivered on their own and improve their odds of success. In fact, we are in discussions with one such company to do just that ahead of our timeline seen here on this slide. We are raising a 500K pre-seed to further de-risk our lead Huntington's disease program, allowing us to generate efficacy data and highlight a lead candidate ready for non-human primate studies and for our pre-IND meeting. This efficacy data will enable further fundraising as well as expansion into these other diseases via partnerships, providing ample opportunities for investors, whether it's going through the long haul after we go through FDA approval or through a potential M&A exit via these foundations we'll build through our partnerships deals like other competitors. Our team currently has 2 co-founders, myself and a scientific co-founder with over 15 years of research experience in the field. I myself have several years of experience growing and developing small organizations into a global entity with minimal resources. We're backed by 2 scientists on our scientific advisory board that have published and patented this technology, giving us exclusive licensing rights for 2 of those patents. And we're backed by a regulatory advisor who has received FDA approval in the ultrasound space. My name is
Thanks, Manny.
Music Bio, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Brian.
Curious how you can target a centimeter section of the brain through skull that does not transmit ultrasound very well.
That's a very good question. So actually, there's already clinical trials that have tested in both like large animal studies and in humans with ultrasound. It's just like optimizing the parameters to be able to bypass either skull, or in some cases, they'll even create a cranial window. But there's currently advances in ultrasound devices that allow you to target at certain depths areas of the brain.
Thank you. Any other question? Go ahead. Yeah, Dr. Lee.
Trying to do with the ultrasound? Are you trying to open up the blood-brain barrier, and doesn't that affect the pharmacodynamics of the drugs you're delivering?
So that's a great question. Because when we open the blood-brain barrier, it's a temporary opening that's roughly 6 to 24 hours. You know, in some cases, it even reached up to 48 in some human studies. But what we're doing is during this temporary, at that same point in time, we're causing these drug delivery vehicle to do both the opening and the drug release. Whereas the current formulation of this imaging agent is that you have to inject it and co-inject a drug along with it. And that co-injected drug goes everywhere in the body instead of just going to that site. So we're combining them to allow for a site-specific delivery.
Thanks, Manny. You got 2 MDs asking the questions. Any feedback from anyone else in the room? Any feedback for Manny? Okay, another MD feedback. Go ahead.
You're injecting a drug and it releases payload once it gets to the targeted area. Does you suggest that the drugs may have to be changed? And so if it's a burden on the drug company to make newly formulated drugs, for them to have that ability to release the local site. So that seems somewhat confusing.
Okay, you should clarify that, Manny. All right, thank you very much, Manny. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so let's vote for Manny, and the company is Music Bio. Next is Simon Yost. Senior AI. You can get started whenever you want.
Sounds great. Well, thanks everybody. I'm coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri tonight. Good evening. And I'm Simon Yost. I'm the CEO of Senior AI, and we're doing Luma, which is independence at scale.
Are you going to share the screen?
Not right now.
Okay, you're not sharing. Go ahead.
So I'm talking to you about Luma. It's independent at scale, delivered through an AI assistant that's built for how seniors actually ask for help. And perhaps the best way to tell you more about this is to tell you Edna's story. I know Edna well, and she just retired. She has the rest of her life ahead of her. She has big plans, but she just had a recent fall, and that gave her pause. And she desperately doesn't want to tell her daughter, perhaps not even her doctor, because it might risk her plans that she has. And so she does what many of us might do. She Googles the word falls, and she gets a waterfall result. She gets a note that falls might be caused by muscle weakness, and a long article from the World Health Organization. But none of those things gives Edna a next step to move forward. And this is what we're finding with millions of Americans. They may be retirement aware, but not aware of the aging process. 11,000 Americans, as you might know, turn 65 plus every day, which equates to about a $627 billion market. These folks might perhaps build their dream kitchen, but start to forget what's in the oven, hang family photos, but perhaps forget the name. And so we're closing the gap with Luma. It's a smart guide for aging well wherever people call home. And the key is that it's outcome focused. So Edna, in this case, might be surprised to learn that she could achieve the outcome of preventing falls without waiting for having to have a fall be detected, for example. And they can access this on the telephone through a phone call with an AI agent, or through texting, Facebook Messenger, SMS, or our mobile app. The business model is a marketplace model which connects these 63 million adults to the 3.7 million service providers. On the supply side, we're capturing real high intent needs in live interactions. And then we're connecting that through that outcome with the service providers. They're going to do an auction style bidding to get those leads and combined with their quality metrics and patient scores if it's healthcare related. Two of our big drivers for go-to-market are caller acquisition. We need older adults and or their family caregivers to call in. And so we're going to leverage Meta ads for that. There's a large constituency of folks using Facebook and Meta platforms. And then on the service provider side, we already have people and organizations signing up, but we can do an inside sales motion, kind of like kayak.com did to get people once they have traction on our platform. Our leadership team is poised and ready to scale. We have experience with Fortune 500 companies, big consulting startups. My co-founder, Amelia, has 17 years of experience as an occupational therapist with this constituency. And we have another co-founder that has tax and accounting experience as well. Our financial projections, conservatively, we're at 10 million ARR on year 4, and we'd love for you to make money with us. The founding team all has capital invested. We're seeing, market caps of companies, obviously like Alphabet, which has Google at 2.something trillion dollars. AARP is a nonprofit in this space with a revenue of 1.6 billion. And we think acquirer landscapes could be anything from health tech companies, insurers, even some of these navigation platforms. But also, if we do this right, brand could be acquired even by Amazon Player or Alexa. We're seeking 600,000 at a 5% market cap. $25,000 check minimum with a negotiable discount on the next round. Our use of fund would be mostly about 45% towards the collar growth, put some into product and sales as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Simon. What was the valuation on your raise?
A $5 million market cap, post money.
Okay. All right. Any question? Go ahead.
What's your current revenue today?
We just actually released, and so we're still a bit pre-revenue.
So how did you come up with a $5 million market cap?
That's a great question. I think part of it is that we're going to work on safe notes and stuff, and I can go through some of the math with you. I wasn't allowed to use my slides tonight, so I'm a little bit shooting from the hip.
Okay. Any other questions? Go ahead, Med.
I didn't get the correlation between the 11,000 people that are turning 65 every day and the market size of whatever billions that you said. What's the correlation?
Oh, yep. We did a bottoms up TAM with how we're doing our marketplace bidding. And so in the short of it, we're going to use population density with zip codes. And so if you run the 65 and older geography and where they live across the United States, that's how we got that number.
Okay. Any feedback for Simon? Jeff and then Don?
I didn't hear anything about competitive moat, like how are you going to stop Google from just doing this tomorrow?
kind of a thing. So I would say maybe even in just a verbal pitch, you gotta talk to something about how you're differentiated and how you're gonna stay differentiated.
Okay, thanks. Don?
Don't be offended, but is this an Angie's List for retired people?
That's an
Is this a
interesting
what?
one.
Sorry.
It's an Angie's List for retired people. Is that what this is?
Oh, I hear you.
All right. Thank you very much, Simon. Give him a big hand and let's vote for Simon, Senior AI. All right. Next is last but not least, it's Fabian. Fabian with Treg Shield Bio. Okay. Okay, whenever you're ready, Fabian, you can share your screen. Very good. Unmute and you can get started.
Okay. Up. So, okay, you can hear me? Fine? Yep. Good?
Yeah, go ahead, get
Perfect.
started.
Oh, let's go. Okay, thanks. Thanks for the invitation today. My name is Dr. Fabien Lepis, founder and CEO of T-Rex Shield Bio, early stage biotech located in Boston in the Smart Lab incubator I'm speaking right now. We focused on therapeutic antibody for immune and inflammatory disease. So with the well-established law firm Foley OAG, we incorporated last October with a clean cap table and we use Carta. We filed a provisional IP in 2025, and importantly, it's fully owned by the company, so we don't have any tech transfer issue or additional hidden fee with university. I'm an immunologist by training, did my postdoc at Harvard, experienced drug developer with 17 plus years of experience. Greatest achievement at Jounce Therapeutics, I was co-inventor and program leader of GS1811, targeting CCR8 in cancer, record deal of $120 million with Gilead in 2020. And as just a note, if you look around, everybody now is focused on CCR8 depleting antibody. I did it 5 years ago in 3 years. Immune and inflammatory disease market is huge, 100 billion right now, and projection 2032, 260 billions. There's no cure, high unmet needs, and all those diseases have in common, they are very localized with a specific tissue that is targeted. For example, pancreas for type 1 diabetes, gut for IBD, joints for RA, and so on. The problem, there's no tissue activable drugs, right? They are all acting everywhere as soon as reaching the blood, and there's dose limiting toxicity with competitor all around. Basically, we are not able to reach the full potential of those drugs because of the safety concern, and they currently act as soon as reaching the blood. The solution we have to unleash the full potential of all those biologics is a plug and play scalable platform to develop tissue activable therapeutic antibodies, right? In other words, our antibody will remain inactive until reaching the disease tissue. Pretty revolutionary. There's nothing equivalent right now. It's applicable. Whole I&I field, for example, could benefit from it. Any stage from early discovery even to marketed product right now that face challenges in the clinic and even marketed. And we could offer first-in-class opportunity for those. Business model-wise, licensing for the platform and also assets, because we develop as an early lead molecule, one that is targeting type 1 diabetes with unique activable process in the pancreas. It's a 10 billion market only in the US, no cure, and we could make a first-in-class just there. Exit, 2.5 year, 3 years, we could go for a preclinical IND with a 100 million valuation at the time and 5-10x. 4-5 years from now, moving to phase 1 after a Series A, for example, 100 to 300 million, which is equivalent to 10-20x. We can do licensing anytime with multiple shot on goals with individual asset between 20 and 100 million. I started initial discussion with Sanofi and Pfizer a few weeks ago. In ask, we're looking for pre-seed 2 million, safe with a 20% discount, and we can continue the discussion. Milestone in a 1 year, inflection points are maturation of platform and IP. At the human side, ex vivo proof of concept on the mouse, in vivo efficacy follow-up, and antibody campaign plus binder identification. I have skin in the game, fully in, 25K founder cash plus 20K of legal on the side. Soft commitment of Type 1 Diabetes Foundation with a 1-1 match possible with additional investor and pending non-dilutive SBIR 305K and then 1.5 million. On the board, myself and Maureen Diane, 25 plus years exec leadership experience and also high value transaction. She's CEO of Vivtex, MIT Bob Langer spin out right now. I have a strong advisory team, world expert in antibody engineering, CMC, preclinical development, and European leader in type 1 diabetes. Currently, precision medicine to finish is the right drug to the right patient. What we want to have in the future is the right location. Thank you.
Thank you, Fabian, very much. Question for Fabian. Go ahead, Jeff.
What happens to the drug that doesn't make it to the tissue? Like, does it deteriorate without the biologic ever being exposed? Like, where does it go?
The question, if I get it right, is you're asking me where the biologics go, correct?
You know what I'm saying? It's like it only gets activated on site, but what about the drug that doesn't make it on site? Like, how does it get?
What about the drug that does not make it on the site? Yeah.
Yeah, very simple. The drug that doesn't make it on site is still circulating and it's safe, unlike any drug right now that can activate in the blood and induce cytokine storm and prevent in phase 1 escalation to the right dose to penetrate the tissue. So in other words, we have a safe molecule there. Yeah.
Go ahead.
What's the current valuation?
Current valuation on the company?
So we are still open, right? I have a specific basic rationale that we could share offline if you're interested. But I'm more willing to rediscuss that also with the board member. We are open to discussion. Sorry?
Don?
Yeah.
What % of the drug actually gets to the targeted site?
What % of the drug gets to the target?
I would say the mechanism we have is equivalent to the initial drug. You take any drug that is right now in the clinic or even marketed, right? It won't change the pharmacodynamic. The only thing it will change is the fact that it will be only activated in the disease site, right? So you can take all the calculation. We can also increase the half-life, right? Because the molecule won't be wasted. Just for knowledge, 90% of drugs are just finishing in the toilets, right? Because they immediately reach out the target in the blood for very potent drugs. Ours will be inactive and circulating still, right? So very high potential in terms of half-life, less dosing as well, and higher amount you can inject because you don't have the toxicity associated with it usually.
All right. Thanks, Fabian, very much. Great presentation. Thank you. Let's give Fabian a hand. And please vote on Fabian and Treg Shield Bio.
Yeah, Treg Shield Bio, sorry.
Treg Shield Bio, yeah. Thank you.
It comes from Treg, regulatory Tregs. I'm actually an expert in the field of Tregs. I love them.
All right. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to get started with face-to-face pitching right now. So please, investors with the numbers on your table, sit on the side where there are 3 seats, and then the founders will sit on the side where there's 1 seat. And founders start with the table number that is assigned to you.
I'm looking for water.
My God, that's another number.
Yeah.
One. Of course.
Oh, no.
What? Yeah, you're
Nice. I was sitting there.
Are you guys pitching?
Yeah, but you're not. You didn't sign up for pitching.
You got startups.
Yeah. You want to see the email you sent?
You're not a pitching company.
So what am I doing?
The ticket you signed up is not for pitching. If you want, if you'll be done with it, but.
Okay, well, do better, okay?
I really want to.
No problem. No problem. Thanks for coming.
Very good. That's how we're gonna do that.
You're not assigned to take. We didn't assign everybody tables. You
How about it?
We can share.
some of them don't.